Okay, let's talk about John Kelly a little bit. Now that Trump's chief of staff, John Kelly, is leaving the White House, he's starting to, I guess, tell the truth about stuff to the extent that we think we can believe him now. And it's exposing that he was telling a lot of lies when he was actually Donald Trump's chief of staff at the White House. And the truth is that the White House is in chaos, and it's as bad or even worse than we all think. John Kelly was interviewed by the Los Angeles Times in a sort of exit interview. That's what it's being called. And hilariously, he says that his time at the White House can better be measured not by what Trump did while Kelly was there, but rather by what Trump did not do. In other words, Kelly is saying the best things I did as chief of staff were convincing Donald Trump not to do certain things. And among that list, John Kelly says that he convinced Trump not to pull U.S. troops out of South Korea merely because North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said he was going to do all this great stuff that obviously he wasn't going to do, and he hasn't actually done. Kelly says it was him who told Trump, don't pull all the troops out of South Korea yet. Kelly reportedly prevented Trump from pulling troops out of Syria and Afghanistan. Of course, Trump immediately doing that upon news of Kelly's departure from Syria, pulling half of the troops from Afghanistan, as we will talk about with Abdullah Sharif in the interview segment today. But the most important element of this interview that John Kelly gave the LA Times is that Kelly admitted that the White House is in absolute and total chaos. He explained, for example, that the implementation of the travel ban was a total mess. He admitted that they just tried to get it out as soon as possible, and that he himself, Trump's chief of staff, John Kelly himself, was caught off guard by the announcement. He had no idea that it was coming when it did. Kelly admitted that the family separation policy at the border was a poorly organized fiasco. But most importantly, he admitted to lying, although not exactly in those words, and I'll explain. John Kelly once told CNN's Wolf Blitzer that the Department of Homeland Security started looking at the child separation policy in March of 2017. Okay. Jeff Sessions eventually announced the implementation of the policy in April of 2018. March 17, April 18, that's 13 months. Okay. In his exit interview, Kelly admits that he was surprised by that policy being implemented. How is it that a policy that was in the works for 13 months surprised Kelly in April of 2018? Something is not right. And the conclusion is that the White House is an absolute, utter, total mess. And for those wondering if John Kelly was the anonymous author of that New York Times op-ed, which was critical of Trump and written by somebody inside the administration, we didn't get that answer. We did not find that out based on this exit interview. I want to make the following point here, Pat. When it comes to John Kelly, when it comes to Sean Spicer, whoever we're talking about who has left the Trump administration, I'm against allowing their reputations to be so easily rehabilitated once they resign. Trump's first press secretary, Sean Spicer, was a merchant of some of the most vile disinformation at the direction of Donald Trump. It's not cute and funny now that Sean Spicer has resigned. Go through the full list of them. They willingly worked for Trump and lied and participated in the smear campaigns and the peddling of lies and the attacks on media. They shouldn't get their public PR perception rehabilitated, Pat, because eventually they quit.
Yeah, the types of things that Sean Spicer was doing and Omarosa was doing, I think they were just viewed as so pathetic at the time and so sycophantic that people were sick of them at the time. But then eventually you start to grow some pity for them. And once they leave the office, you tend to want to share some sympathy for them. I think that's what happened in those cases. And all signs point to it happening to John Kelly, too. I'm sure he'll be able to go out there, write a book, exposing what's going on in the Trump administration, and he will be revered by some.
These are participants in what is taking place. They are not bystanders. And, we've talked about this in the context of George W. Bush. Compared to Trump, Bush seems to have basic understandings of how politics works, basic decorum, maintaining relationships with allies. But it's really important to remember that George W. Bush was an absolutely disastrous president who made horrible decisions that led to countless deaths, optional decisions, went after the wrong country for the 9/11 attacks, presented, along with Colin Powell and others, a case based on totally bogus intelligence for why we should go to Iraq. So, yeah, he's not as whacked as President Trump, and he wouldn't embarrass the world, the United States on the world stage to the degree that Donald Trump has. But he was still a disaster. And in the same way, Spicer was part of it, John Kelly, Scaramucci, whoever, right? They may be funny now that they're out. We may see them as less offensive or threatening characters now that they've parted ways with the Trump administration. But they should not be allowed to have this full rehabilitation of their public persona just because they have eventually decided, in some cases after years of working for this guy, that they're not going to participate anymore. If you disagree with me, if you think they should have their public image rehabilitated so easily, let me know why. I'm open to having my mind changed. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. I posted some wacky hate mail that we received over the New Year holiday to my Instagram today. David.Pakman on Instagram. Also follow the David Pakman Show on Instagram at David Pakman Show. Lots of good stuff there. Quick break. Back after this with Abdullah Sharif. One of today's sponsors is privacy.com/Pakman. This is a free service that I've actually been using myself for a while now, and I love it. You just take a few seconds to link your debit card or bank account to privacy.com's mobile app or browser extension for Firefox and Chrome. And what that does is allow you to instantly create virtual credit cards that are linked to your bank account so that you're not actually putting your real debit card number on the internet. And you use these virtual credit card numbers to buy things online. And with one click of a button, you have the ability to create multiple virtual cards, delete cards, freeze and unfreeze cards. You can put a limit on a card so a company won't be able to charge you more than you actually want them to. And it protects you from being hacked. It protects you from companies being hacked, which we've been talking about for a while on the program. And it's perfect for signing up for free trial somewhere if you don't want your real credit card number to be exposed and on file. And their app and browser extension let you autofill the virtual credit card number into the credit card field when you're buying things online. There are a ton of different advantages to shopping and paying bills with a system like this. Everything is totally secure and encrypted. And in some situations, you can earn 5% cash back on your purchases. It's all completely free. All you have to do is click the link under this video to get started. And for a limited time, everybody in our audience who signs up gets $5 towards your first purchase when you sign up using that link below.